Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to round 6 of the Slydog Racing League, and we are here at Australia this evening. Hope everyone's had a good week, maybe potentially enjoyed the England game last night, or if you didn't, that's probably because you're not a fan. Not everyone can be, I guess. But anyway, we're here for round 6, as I mentioned earlier before. Just while we're waiting for a few people to get into the stream and ready up, we'll talk about last week. So let's start off with the previous winners for last week. It's a bit of a full house for A-Ride last week, winning both the feature and the sprint race. So that's made things a bit less interesting, shall we say, in terms of the top of the championship, as he was already there and thereabouts. So at the moment we're looking at the Thursday feature race, featuring a top 3 which have been ever present since round 1, I would say. So we've got Aaron with 93 points so far this season after the 6 races on the feature side. For those that don't know, we also do a sprint race, and you add those all together obviously separately, but they will then count towards the constructors. So Dunn is in second place at the moment with 76 points. He's I think this will be his first season, like a full season racing here in Slydog, and I must say he's done very, very well so far. Expecting another good run out for him this evening. And in the third place we had James Punt, who's had a little bit of a mixture actually. He started off really strong, gone away for the last couple of races, but I'd imagine he will come back strong here today. So that's the feature race. On the sprint side of things, Aaron is just topping the charts again, so it's a bit of a double act really. Got Aaron again in first place with 72 points this time, with Dunners in second with 65, and we've got Butters in 64. However, I believe that's just because of the fact that he wasn't around last week, because I think Butters would have scored good points last week. So he's got it all to do now though. You only have to miss one week, and the positions change every single time. So unfortunately for him, he's now got some work to do, as he's dropped down to third in the standings this week. And then you've got Trem in fourth in the other McLaren with 35. After that, the midfield area is pretty bunched up, really, only separated by 4 or 5 points, really. You've got ZGS on 34, Blumchum 32, B Wheeler on 28, Indley Boy on 26, James Punt on 25, and Pressing Mixer also with 25. In terms of constructors, how we're sitting at the moment is the AlphaTauri is still reigning supreme at the moment with 239 points. And then we've got the Pink Weapons of the Racing Points in second with 218 points. So just the 21 points separating them at the moment. So all it takes is, one bit of good fortune from the Racing Point there, and they could see themselves on top next week. We'll have to see how tonight pans out, however, to see whether or not that's going to come into fruition. And then in third place, you've got the McLarens on 135 points. And again, to be honest, the midfield area fairly tight with the next few boys. You've got the Renaults on 98 points and the Red Bulls on 88. After that, you've got a little bit of a gap forming, as Mercedes are on 59 points. And then you've got Ferrari with 56, the Haas with 50, Alfa Romeo on 5, and the Williams currently sitting on 0. But if you've been keeping track of us for the last 6 weeks, you'll know that that's mainly because the Williams hasn't had a full team yet. And also, because it's realistic this season, the Williams is the hardest car to get any form of points on. But then again, if you look at the Monday races, you'll find that it's not always the case. As you see, Granty Boy has picked up a fair few points, and Joseph Morales as well, picking up his first podium in the Williams on Monday as well. So we're going to be getting underway very shortly. We'll be watching the formation lap as we go along. The rules here are pretty different. It's all based on the championship, so the further up in the championship you are, the further back you will start. And it just gives the chance for some of the others who aren't, in permanent fixtures at the front row, just to give them a chance to give them something to defend. And obviously, we all know that starting on the podium is a lot better than starting at the back. So, as it stands, and they're about to go on their formation lap, that means today we've got Murph sitting on pole position with Albert in second, Trem in third, B Wheeler fourth, Blumchum in fifth. We've then got Error 6, weirdly enough, coincidentally, is also in 6th, with Wolsey in 7th. Butters rejoins us with 8th place starting today, and Pressing Mixer in the Ferrari in 9th. And then we've got Willis coming up, covering the top 10. After that, we've got a couple of newbies. I'm not really sure how to pronounce their names, so I'm just going to start at the back, and I'm just going to call them BTL. I think I'm just going to make it nice and easy for myself. And I'm going to have, I think, the next boy along that, and the other Williams, sorry, I'm just going to call him Mr. G, I think. That'll be nice and simple. Obviously, boys, if you don't like that, or you want it to be something else, let me know, and we'll see how we get on. So let's just bring up the chat here as well. Don't want to fall behind. We're missing a few of our regulars this week, unfortunately. Something to do with an anniversary being more important than the league tonight, which, let's be honest, I don't know about you, but I don't tend to agree. I think it was a bit of an excuse. But he may be able to get on a bit later to cheer on his favourite couple of drivers. So anyway, Australia tonight. So, I mean, 50% race to begin with. We've got 29 laps. Probably looking at a one-stopper, maybe. You probably could get away with a two-stopper if you needed to. Not too sure which will be the quicker around this track, because I mean, let's be honest, you could always try and start on the mediums and then go on to the hards later on and make a one-stop work. I was speaking to Aaron before this race, and he says he's not particularly strong around here, so he's not expecting to be setting the world on fire today. So it'll be interesting to see if he maybe tries the one-stop in order to try and make up positions. So just having a quick look at tyres, let's just see who's doing what. So no one on, we've only got Blumchum on the hard, so he's probably definitely going to go well into this race to try and do the one-stopper. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes on to the softs. As you can see on the schematics there at the bottom, it's just giving us a heads up to say it is a one-stop race. They reckon you could do soft to medium, or you could do soft to hards. Obviously, for me, you'd probably want to do soft to medium, bearing in mind that the medium is obviously much better than a hard compound tyre. But then, you know, there's always that risk that if you burn it out early doors, that you could end up losing out towards the middle to end of this race. Anyway, so we're just about to start here today. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights will be... And we're going off and we're racing. So Murph gets a good start here, but Albert looks to be closing the gap early doors. Could see him coming into turn 1 here, and he has already taken over the lead. It just depends if he's going to back out or not. Murph goes extremely wide, and a few cars seem to join him, but Albert has taken the lead of the race. He's got a little bit of a stopgap as Murph's just dropping down into 3rd or 4th place now. But so far so good. No accidents that appear to be there, as you just see the... But who's that? The Renault there, just ghosting in and out. Well, we're ignoring for the time being. So anyway, at the moment, looks like everyone's got away cleanly, which is what we want to see. Nothing too amazing going on at the moment. Just showing that everyone, Codemaster's doing its thing yet again. We're just riding on board with Murph at the moment. He's had a little bit of a sketchy start of the lap there, unfortunately. While we just let the game try and sort itself out. Oh, and that was a bit of a... Whoa, that was a big old move from Trem there. Definitely on the line of hard evening. Oh, and speaking of the devil, here he is. Just got back from dinner, mate. How was it? Hope it was good. Hope it was worth missing the first 5 seconds of this. That was... Anyway, we're just going to carry on. So we've got a couple of battles still going on here. So B-Willie's got himself up into 2nd place at the moment, so he's had a really good start. But he's got Wolsey on the back of him at the moment, followed by Trem. Got a little bit of a gap there, though, between 2nd and... Let me just look here. I can't get these intervals right, because we're still missing half the interval screen, annoyingly. Anyway, so, yeah, good start so far. So Albert obviously naturally takes the fastest lap. Bearing in mind he started 2nd and came into 1st, so we won't keep an eye on that too much, because I imagine that'll be changing as we go along. So let's just have a little look here at the sort of winners and losers to start here. So no penalties picked up on the first lap. That's always a good start. Although we have seen 3 people pit nice and early, so they must have gone away with some wing damage there between a couple of the boys here. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that. So I'd imagine they're going to go onto the hard tyres. So as you can see though, Wolsey the big winner at the moment, up 4 places. Up into 3rd place, and a couple of the other boys making a few grounds. Riley's made up 4 places. Errors unfortunately dropped down 6 places. James Pump must have had to come in together with somebody, because he's at the back of the grid at the moment. So I'm just going to keep an eye on Wolsey and B Wheeler here, as they seem to be the closest pack. Got a little bit of a train forming at the back here behind Murph. So it's all getting a bit tight as we just go down into one of the main straights here. Got a really tight S-bend here, which can catch a lot of people out, and where you'll find most of the penalties being given away today. But we're going to move on slightly further back now. We'll just keep going on here. So, oh, we get to see all the carnage there between Preston Mixer, Blumchum, ZGS, all of them coming into one corner here. Let's just keep an eye on that as that progresses. So Preston Mixer's managed to get himself up into 6th place at the moment. But it looks like he's having to really defend hard against the people behind him. That's only going to aid the people in behind, who are obviously trying to catch. Murph's obviously just lost it of sorts in that corner, because now Preston Mixer's all over the back of him. It might give him a sigh of relief there, because he could just use a slipstream to try and get away from these people that are trying to get up from behind. And you've got 5 or 6 cars here, all chasing down the one main straight. So all seems to play for between 6th and 11th place at the moment. As you can just see again, Mercer's gone really wide there, unfortunately, in that Red Bull. He's going to tumble down the order now, so just dropped down to 8th place. Just going to stick on the back here of ZGS, who, as we all know, quite a few of the guys here are on the medium compound tyre. Just going to have a little look at that now. Let's have a look. So, tyre-wise, sorry, can you just missed your message? What's the track? Well, I mentioned earlier in the stream we're looking at maybe a one-stopper today. Just depends on which way you want to do it. You could do a soft to hard here, or you could do a soft to medium. I don't think the tyre degradation is too bad at this circuit. Obviously, there's quite a few bendy sections though, so you don't want to lose the tyre life too early, because that can make it really difficult to get in traction, particularly in a few of the slower turns, particularly the last corners, I'd say, the last 2. Good evening, Mr. Invalibor, how are you doing? Iniesta, Andreas. I mean, all the footballers in one, I see. So you can just see here that Riley's managed to get himself up into 7th place here. Just riding on board with ZGS at the moment, who's still on the back of Preston Mixer. Just going to keep an eye as we go further back here, because you can just see Butters, Wheeler and Nick Willis here, all fighting for those last point places. Blumchum's in a great position. He may have lost out 6 positions so far, but he probably expected that, knowing full well he's on the hard tyre. So he's going to be one of the slower cars on track. But he's doing that in order to get better lap times towards the end of the race, lower fuel, and then he'll be able to have lower degradation on his soft tyres as well. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes to about lap 18 or 19, I'd say, on those tyres. So anyway, so we had a couple people pit early doors, which is inevitably probably for damage, so they've gone on a hard tyre now. It's sort of given them, just made it a bit difficult. I'm just going to go back to the ZGS and Preston Mixers. You can just see here that, Mr. G has DNF'd. I'm not too sure why. It looks like he DNF'd into the pits there? I would imagine so, because it doesn't look like we've got... yeah, he's definitely in the pits. We'll have to see what happened then. Get in touch, Mr. G. Let us know what's happened. Too much wing damage. Didn't think you could catch back up. Racing's racing. No, it's all practice at the end of the day here for a lot of us. So this battle for 5th place between Preston Mixer, ZGS, A. Riley is still going on strong. We've also got another fight going on behind there, boys, between Blumchum, Error and Nick Willis. So obviously Blumchum's doing pretty well to stay on the back of the rest of this pack, but he doesn't want to get into too much dicing early doors. He just wants to sit back, keep his tyres nice and cool, just get them to go into about, as I say, about lap 18 to 20 would be a good time to pit for him. So we now should have DRS now, which should make things a little bit easier here, which unfortunately for Butters means he's going to be under pressure from that Red Bull. Superior engine and DRS to follow. So it looks like he's going to... I don't know if he's going to get the move done here, but there'll be a second DRS turn here. So if he can keep it clean, just get in nice and early. He has got the soft compound tyres, so he should get better traction out of these corners. He's a lot closer now. He might dive down on the inside on this late breaker, but he's decided not to do it yet. He's going to have to wait. All the while these two keep fighting though, Riley's getting more and more of a gap between themselves, because Butters can't chase down Riley because he's too busy looking in his wing mirrors to see where the other drivers are behind him. So everyone's kept it very clean so far today. Only 2 penalties thus far. So Riley picking up a rare penalty and Murph picking up a penalty as well. As you can just see here that they're still trying to fight here. Just going to move back on here because it looks like Wolsey and ZGS are fighting. So it looks like Wolsey has dropped down the order and Tremor's moved up into 3rd place. They're still going to be fighting over this little S-Bench chicane. He's gone a bit wide there. That's going to give Preston Mixer a chance to catch him on the inside. And not just him, Riley's following him through. He's just lost 2 positions in one straight there just because of one mistake. Really good driving from him, and he goes really wide. He's got to keep it together, make sure there's no contact. Riley should have this on the inside line here, but you never know. Wolsey's definitely going to make him go deep here. He's going to make him push wide. He'll get better traction though, going on the outside. Oh, Riley's just backed out of that one, though, has he? No, he hasn't. He's decided still to go on through. Good racing, boys. Very nicely indeed. So we've still got Blumchum, Willis and Butters all separated from under a second at the moment. He's still defending really well here, Butters, just to keep the Red Bull and the Haas behind him. But he's he's doing pretty well so far. So he's gonna have to keep this up for a few more laps though, because the longer he keeps this going, the softs are gonna lose. Oh, they're going to lose their tyre. They're going to start getting off. He's going to start wearing them off, unfortunately. And what you'll see is Butters will eventually be able to maybe drop this Red Bull. But those are the soft compound tyres, or whoever started on the mediums. They're going to be happy. They're going to be happy to sit here and just defend against these guys on the softs, because the softs will wear out, and they know at the end of the race he'll have to be on a medium or even a hard compound tyre, and they'll be able to breeze past with the soft compounds. So it looks like he's going to give it a go now. So he's had enough. He's absolutely killed it around the corner there. He's easily got the position done before the corner, and he's kept it tidy. Very nicely done indeed. So that's now released Willis, who's now going to be chasing down Wolsey, but he's got a 2.7 second gap in order to try and do that. I'm just going to move back on now to ZGS. I can see he's on the back of Trem. Trem's doing really well so far. Today he's up into third place, and obviously he's very close to the back of B Wheeler as well. So got a little bit of a DRS training again, not a 100% race time, 50% is the standard feature race, 25% sprint race following that. It was only different last week because it was Bahrain short. So unfortunately, or was it? That might have been the week before in fairness. Anyway, so they're still fighting out between the last podium places. Obviously Albert's leading a really good strong race here. He's got a 7.4 second gap to his next competitor in second. I mean, he's not picked up as many points as he'd probably hoped for, but I tell you what, it's a very strong start from him so far. And if he continues to keep it up like this, I can imagine he's going to be there or thereabouts for sure by the end of this race. So this three-way battle is still going on here, and unfortunately Wolsey has lost out to Butters. He's now got Blumchum for company. I don't think they're going to be fighting too hard in this corner, because 2 and 1 do not go in this corner. But then Blumchum's going to get a better exit. He's going to try and attack him down this left main straight here. He is on the outside though, unfortunately, so Wolsey's always going to win this one, but he's actually backed out. Perhaps he didn't want to risk getting some damage there. So Blumchum's moved up to the 9th place. Solid move back from him. Obviously you've got to be really careful here, because that Mercedes power engine is always going to be a danger no matter where you are on the track, you know. So anyway, just going to be back to this pack at the front. As we can just see, Trem is still agonisingly close to B Wheeler here. It could just be a case of who holds the tyres together better, because at the moment it seems to be a bit of a tit-and-tat sort of race at the moment. Unfortunately, he hasn't got any RS to try and combat this, so he needs to stall that up for a few laps, try to stay close as much as he can, and use that overtake. He's got to use everything at his disposal to try and get around that Renault. Unfortunately, around this track, the Renault is quick. The Renault is quick in a straight line. So you can just see here errors into 9th position. Butters has come into pit. He's also, he must have got front wing damage. I wonder if he was keeping them behind with front wing damage, because if he was, he's going to come along stronger now. But he's staying on the softs, so he's going to have to do a 2-stopper for sure. Can't see him doing 21 laps on the softs. Wolsey's come in, and he is currently just coming back out on the hard tyre, I believe. Yep. So still got a fair few people that haven't pitted yet. Most of the people at the back have pitted. So you can just see now that, Blumchum has lost it somewhere. And unfortunately, I think he's lost his front, he's lost his front wing either side. So this is going to be really, he's going to have to pit earlier than he expected. So I don't know, he probably is going to have to go on the mediums. But he may actually, that may not see him through. 21 laps in the mediums. I'm not sure if that's doable or not. But, I mean, time will tell. Just going to keep an eye. So the Red Bull of Nick Willis is still chasing Riley at the moment. He's managed to get that gap down to 7.7 seconds. So we're just catching him ever so slightly. So good race here from the Red Bull driver so far. He is on a soft tyre compound as well. So he should have the overall speed advantage and the tyre advantage here. But that AlphaTauri is obviously a bit of a dark horse, really. It seems to be, it's meant to be maybe the 5th or 6th fastest car, but in particular the Monday nights and the Thursday nights, the AlphaTauris are doing very well actually, and reigning quite supreme. So let's have a little look here. So I'm just going to keep an eye on this battle for now. So Albert's finally pitted and he's dropped down to 6th place. So that was to be expected. Obviously, he had a bit of a gap, but not too much. But all he needs to do now is just wait for all the competitors in front of him just to pit off, while he slowly creeps up, no doubt, with the fresher tyres. I see the question here. What was your experience on Monday around here, Max? I know a lot of people struggle with rear grip for the high. To be honest, I didn't think I struggled as much as I thought I was going to. Obviously, the first part was good for me. Just defended a little bit, made a few... I actually thought I was going to get a podium, to be honest. But midway through the race, unfortunately, I just got a little bit over eager and corner cutting on the last corner, and I got a 3-second penalty. So I finished second, but then dropped down to fifth just because of a 3-second time penalty. But I think the tyres held out okay. I mean, it's all to do with setups on this game. You know, you could be a Williams, but as long as your setup's right, as Joseph Morales proves, as long as you've got a good setup and you're a good driver, you can definitely make it count, no matter what car you are on track. Yeah, I thought it was okay. What about you? I mean, did you watch it on Monday, or can't remember exactly where we were, actually? It always seems like a blur. It was only 4 days ago. Anyway, so just going to go back to the racing briefly so we can see a few more people pitting. B Wheeler's had enough now, and it looks like Trem's also pitting because he's down into 8th place now. So Preston Mixer is now 2nd place, just coming up to the back of ZGS here. He's got a couple of penalties. That's going to make a little bit of a difference to a couple of the boys going in for sure. This is the closest battle I think we've got going on at the moment. So we've still got 5 drivers left to pit. So ZGS, Preston Mixer, Riley, Nick Willis and Error 6, the last 2 pit. I mean, they're on the soft tyre compound, probably going to keep going maybe 1 or 2 more laps if they can eke it out, and then go on to the mediums, and that should do them well. I think 17 laps on the medium should be all right. What this has done though is it's just most of the small gaps that were there seem to have changed hands quite considerably from the pit stops. Well, just while we wait for that then, I'm just going to move back onto Willis as this is the closest fight that we've got going on at the moment. So looking at tyres, etc., you got ZGS, Preston Mixer and Riley, all 3 of them are on the mediums. They're going to go well into this race. You can just see Willis has had enough now, 9 laps. He's not going to be, he didn't think he'd get past Riley, so perhaps he's going for an undercut. But I mean, Riley's going to have to, he's going to keep going for a little bit longer on those medium tyre compounds. This is a case of what he decides to do now. So he's sticking on the mediums. He thinks he can do 18 laps on the mediums. But I mean, if you could do 11 on the softs, there's no reason to think you couldn't do 18 on the mediums for sure. So a couple of people are now pushing on through, and as it shows, two-stop strategy now. One stop, apologies. So most people are in and around that time. So it looks like most of the boys on the softs now, particularly Error, are probably going to be pitting shortly. Interesting that Dunners is on the softs. I think he's also pitted as well. So he has. So he must be doing a 2-stopper maybe. He must be doing... Albert 2-stop. Let's have a look. I would say so, yeah. If he's already stopped to go on to the softs again for a 2nd time round. I'm not sure why he's done that, to be fair, because, you know, he had quite a healthy advantage. He could have afforded to go on to a hard tyre if he wanted to, or a medium tyre, and just risk it a little bit, because he had a bit of a gap formed in front of him, and he also doesn't have any penalties to deal with. So if he catches up to the back of these boys, he's going to want to overtake and get a bit more of a gap. But I guess at the moment, what that would mean is ZGS is the leader of this race for sure. Because although he's got a pit, we know for sure that Albert's also going to have to pit again. So it's, I think Albert's made it a bit more interesting as a result, actually, not going for a 1-stopper. Going on to a 2 has made it more interesting because now he's got to pit again. You can just see here that Trem and Error having a bit of a battle. So looks like Trem's just managed to get in front of him because I can see he had the DRS there. So nice clean overtake from him. So he's gone onto the hard tyres now, so he'll be on those until the end. But to get past Error, I mean, he is starting to struggle, I imagine, with those soft tyres now. So Trem just making the fresh rubber count, really, making sure but he did it quick. He made the move as quickly as possible, so it means he can now get on with his race and start chasing the rest of the pack. Because unfortunately, it's got 11-second gap between him and Albert, and you know another 10 seconds between the top 3 as well. So it's all going well for him, though. He'll be happy with that. Happy in 5th place, but bearing in mind he doesn't have to pit again, and the others do. I think the average pit stop around here could be quite a long one. I'd imagine it's about 25 to 30 seconds even. So at the moment, if Trem could just keep it as it is, maybe close the gap by a couple of seconds, wouldn't be surprised to see him going first. I think Error's really got a pit now. He's picked up a penalty. He's really starting to struggle on those softs. And in a minute, he just keeps touching the grass a little bit too much. And to me, that just suggests that he's he obviously wants to get on the power early, and he can't do that like he was able to in the first couple of laps. So I can see here that Preston Mixer, Riley, Preston Mixer's pitted, okay. So he's gone onto the hard tyres now. Didn't think he could eke those mediums out any longer. It's an interesting choice. Perhaps they were just losing the life there. So he's going to go. He shouldn't have to pit again, though. Shouldn't have to pit again. So that's one position made back up from Albert. So he'll be happy with that. So he's only got 3.2 seconds now between him and Aaron. He's been gaining and gaining every lap. ZGS obviously is really happy at the moment, being 10 seconds out in front. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, he did have a second gap to the lead earlier. So I must admit, it's like I say, him going on to a one-stopper has made things interesting for sure. Nothing too much to fight home about at the moment. I'm just going to move back here so we can just see there that James Punt's up into 11th now, which isn't too bad. And he's got the Haas behind him at 0.8 here of BTL at the moment. So he's one of the new guys. This is sort of like his trial for the evening. I'm not sure if he's a permanent fixture or not, or he might just be trialling out to become a permanent fixture here. But himself and Mr. G as well, both of them are new drivers for this evening. Interesting to see how they're getting on at the moment. So they're not doing too badly, of course. 12th position. Obviously, don't know what he'd be expecting. I'm not sure what sort of level he's at, but he is in the Haas as well. So it's worth mentioning that although he's 12th place, he is in the Haas. But his teammate is currently in 14th. But I believe that's because he's done an extra stop. So, because Blumshaw's back into 14th, he had to do a second stop because he lost his front wing. And just as I say that, that's going to be him out, and that's going to be a safety car, I imagine. That's going to have to be, that probably will be a safety car. I'll be surprised if it isn't. Let's have a little look here. Yeah, I think that's a safety car. So here comes a safety car. So all of Z, I think you're going to see people piling into the pits now for sure. Yeah, here we go. There's Merp. Everyone at front now should be coming in. Except for, well, this is going to hand Trem a very, very good lead indeed. So you've got ZGS and Riley in first and second at the moment. I can't imagine, are they going to be coming in, I wonder? Have a little look here at the tyres again. I mean, this could be a freebie for Albert. Perhaps now is the time for him to come in and go on the medium tyre compound. I mean, Trem's going to be very happy with this, bearing in mind he's on the hard tyre, so he does not need to pit. He might decide to pit to go on a slightly softer compound. I imagine, look, if the boys have already done 13 laps, Jess and Riley here, for mediums, then, you know, Trem should be able to do the same on the mediums for the rest of the race. Obviously, a lot less fuel now as well. So, let's just see here if Riley's going to come into pit. So ZGS has come into the pit. Riley going to follow suit? Yes, he is. Right, he's going to come in as well. And then Albert, is he going to stay out? No, he's definitely doing the same. I did think that would be the case. So he's come in now as well. Just makes sense to get that pit stop done now, but the safety car's out, because it saves you so much time. Obviously, everyone's having to go at reduced delta in order to accommodate for the safety car, and he'll be able to catch up with the rest of the pack. So he's going on to the mediums, which he's able to do because he's obviously on the hard, but Ryde's got no choice. He had to go on either the soft or the hard. So this is going to play back into Albert's hand again because of the fact that he's going to be on the softer compound. And I imagine Aaron would have preferred to be on the medium tyre right now, but unfortunately because of that safety car, it sort of forced him into doing something else. So Preston Mixer is in the pits again. So he's come back out now. He's come back out on softs. Is that his third pit stop as well? No, it's his second. I'm not sure why he came in again. Maybe he thinks he can get the softs to last until the end of the race. Interesting choice, to say the least. How's everyone following the race so far? Any interesting insights you'd like to offer? Just while we wait for the safety car to catch up with the rest of the pack here. So we're going to see some racing again. Potentially, I'd say another lap before the safety car comes in. But intriguing race so far. Not a huge amount of action, but then again with Australia it's a bit of a difficult one, because although there are some good long straights, obviously most of the guys here know that, and they've set their cars up to have some pretty high downforce to sort of try and combat that DRS as well. I mean, one of the key things here is people are going to be able to charge their batteries for the ERS now. As you can see, Riley's on 100%. I imagine most of the field are going to be around that sort of pack now. So let's just run through the list then. So we've got ZGS in first. He has pitted and got back out on the hard tyre, and he's still in first place. So that is very nicely done indeed. The only issue he's going to have is he's got a couple of people behind him who are on the medium tyres, who might be able to make short work of a few people. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him a bit under pressure from a few boys like Riley and from Albert and Trem. Oh, it looks like Trem's decided to pit after all. So he's pitted again and gone on to the mediums. But then again, he hasn't missed out. He hasn't lost any places. So that's worked out quite kindly for him in the McLaren. So at the moment, in terms of points positions, obviously ZGS, if he comes home first, that'd be very good for the racing points, because they really need to outscore these AlphaTauris and they can start getting a bit more points on the board. Whereas McLaren as well, I mean, although they're pretty close in the sprint race, overall they're 80 odd points behind second place. So it's quite a lot of a gap to make up for sure. But I know a couple of these guys, and they're all very strong racers here. So it's only going to take one mistake really to completely change the outcome of some of these races. I don't think Australia is the kindest when it comes to mistakes. If you, like you just saw there earlier with BTL as it just span out, if you literally touch the curb a little bit too soon and you don't straighten out the car in time, the back end just goes, and unfortunately you're straight into the wall. And as it showed, you'll be very lucky to get away with just some minor wing damage. Most of the times you go out there, that's it, DNF for sure. So haven't seen if the safety car's coming in yet this lap, but I imagine it will be, because it only stays out for 2 or 3 laps, so we're going to be getting back underway shortly. So the only person on the soft tyre now is pressing Mixer, and just before we get started, let's just have a quick look at the penalty situation. So Riley's got a drive-through. I don't know why that is. So he'll have to serve that after the safety car goes in, because he's not allowed to serve it now. The rules obviously state that a drive-through penalty, because otherwise he'll obviously gain an advantage still. Kind of pointless giving someone a penalty if they're then just going to gain advantage from it. So I can ZGS is definitely going to just slow down the pack now. So he's let the safety car go, because what he doesn't want to do is, although you can't overtake him until to the end of the start straight line, or the finish line, he's going to probably buy his time until really late on. But for my tactic for the safety car normally is to actually just back right off. So even if it is the case that he's going to go, if he goes as late as possible, you're probably still going to get more of an opportunity to overtake, even from further back, because you can put the power down earlier. Because the longer he waits to go, the more of a chance you've got to overtake him with the sheer momentum you get. So he's not even going to hang around, he's just going to go straight away. It might put him under pressure here straight away from the Red Bull coming down this main straight. But he has got quite a bit of a gap in fairness, so it looks like he's going to be okay. So, you know, fair play to him, ZGS. You proved me wrong, mate. You went early and you've managed to keep it quite nicely. Must have caught the Red Bull napping a little bit there. So Riley's in third place for that at the moment, but he is going to have to face a drive-through. Whether or not that was a true reflection of what it should be or not, because I know it can be a little bit hit and miss. So I can just see here that Woolsey and Preston Mixer are fighting again. So Woolsey's gone into the gravel. He's now going to spin out. Really, really well done there from Butters to avoid contact. Hasn't got any damage though, so that'll be the main thing that he'll want to keep an eye on. He's going to move back up here into the next couple of places. So Butters is now up into 8th place as a position. He's obviously not got any penalties, which is going to benefit him. So even if he got overtaken by anyone behind him, as long as he can stay close within 3 or 6 seconds of some of these drivers, he's still going to keep this position. Obviously though, as you'd imagine, he's not going to want to do that. He's going to want to get the job done and move on. So interesting to see when Riley decides to do his drive-through. So we've got Trem here, and Preston Mixer is all over the back of him now. So Preston Mixer, obviously with the fresher tyres, is just absolutely gunning it at the moment. So good defending from Trem there though. He knew that Preston Mixer had the inside line, but with the outside he could just use it just to gain that extra momentum as they slightly touch just on the last corner there. So Trem's out of ERS for this lap. He's used most of it in trying to defend. So they'll put him under pressure here from the Ferrari as we go down the main straight. But Preston Mixer's also got Dunners for company. So we could see a small positional change going on here. Looks like everyone's keeping it calm and collected for the opening couple of laps after the safety car. Preston Mixer though, I think it's only a matter of time before he manages to get Trem here, just because of the sheer difference in speed with the soft tyre. Now, the longer the race goes on, the more fuel you lose, and as you lose more fuel, obviously the car gets lighter. Trem's gone really wide there, he's gone to the grass. It's going to give Preston Mixer another opportunity. Not really the best choice to try and overtake, so he's used his experiences and he's just going to wait and hold up. He could overtake here though if he gets close enough. Trem defending very early on there. Just keeping the position for now. So looks like Preston Mixer is going to have a go now though. They're side by side going up here. You've got to decide early doors. One of them's going to have to back out. But Preston Mixer has just managed to swing that Ferrari around the outside. Very nice overtake. Now Trem's got someone else on the back of him now. Dunners is now coming up alongside him. So Trem's now got the inside line. He might lose out here. He has lost out. He has lost out. But if he sticks with this train, he'll still pick up DRS and he might be able to attack back. And as I say that, it looks like we've got another safety car. Safety car, virtual safety car, what's going on here? Yeah, it is a safety car, I think, looking at it. I don't know why my game doesn't tell me this, but there is a safety car. So we've got another safety car. Has Riley just gone back to pit in for some more rubber? Yeah, he has. He's gone for soft tyres. Still got a drive-through that he needs to go in for. So, but at least, look at this, Tom. Might actually win a beer back off you. I mean, I'm probably about 4 ales down at this point, but a win's a win. Really interesting to see Albert dropping down into 11th place at the moment. Has he pitted again? He has. He's pitted for a 3rd time here. For what looked like he was good, he was comfortable in front, 7.5 seconds lead, and now he sits down in 11th place after 3 stops. I wonder if he's just had a coming together with one of the walls and maybe lost a bit of his wing. I really thought that he was going to be coming through here, so I didn't understand that. So driving into the pits doesn't count as a drive-through. It might be that he was speeding. Maybe he was speeding. I'm not too sure what the drive-through was for, unfortunately, because unless Aaron can tell us, if he can, I'm sure he'll get on maybe at the end of this first race and give me a heads up. But for me, I think the only time you can get a drive-through is because of speeding in the pit lane. Or it could be that he obviously, off the start straight, went a bit too early before the lights went out. But I don't think he did. So I think the drive-through must be for either speeding in the pit lane or I don't know, maybe it'll be maybe if there's a virtual safety car, you can also get a drive-through if you don't reduce your delta, because you've got to have a positive delta, and it can be really harsh when it says the delta's about to end. It doesn't give you like a 5-second warning. It says it's going to end soon, but if you're not in the plus before it ends, you'll automatically receive a drive-through. So Butters is down in 14th now as well, because he's decided to pit for a 3rd time. So you can just see him at the back of this train at the moment. It's quite interesting to see what's going on with people's choices today. I know there's been a few safety cars, but you shouldn't just pit for the sake of it. I mean, I'm not really sure about that one. I see now Air pitting again. I'm not too sure. What I must admit, the guys, you really stumped me here. I really don't understand what some of these pit stop strategies are like. But that could just be I've missed out on some vital piece of information. Could be wing damage, could be anything. Could just be that he went in because the person in front of him went in, so he wanted to make sure he kept fighting. But I mean, track position on this this track is quite important, because there's not a huge amount of overtaking to be done, really. You have to be very careful, because there's a couple of good straights, but a lot of these sections are fast corner turns. I mean, which for me is not the best place to overtake, particularly when the track isn't that wide going into some of these corners. It's really easy to completely cock it up, take a bit of the grass, take the gravel, and as soon as you touch the gravel, your car's just going to go out from underneath you. So, safety car should be coming back in again for this lap. That will give us 9 more laps of racing. We haven't lost a second driver though, so I still don't quite understand the safety car. Oh well, we'll soon see, but let's just wait and see as we're just approaching the mid to end section of Sector 2. See what's going on here. So Keys, let me know, mate, is Riley still going to make the podium here with 9 laps remaining? Right, doing exactly what he did before ZGS, just holding up the pack. Everyone's obviously swerving, trying to get the tyre temperature, particularly on the hard tyre. that ZGS has got, because when that cools down, that tyre can become a real handful to control. So you have to keep it warm. Obviously the softs will warm up quickest because they're the softer compound. Medium obviously in the middle, as you can imagine. It's all, it's all straightforward really. Obviously the hard being the slowest tyre. So he's going to struggle, I would say, particularly with Willis and Preston Mixer and behind with softer compound tyres. He's just going to go early again. Does Willis catch on a little bit this time? I'm not so sure he did. He's got 0.7 seconds of a gap going on here. So just going to keep an eye on the rest of the field so we can just come down that line here. Just going to keep an eye on everybody here. Just see a few cars trying to make some moves sticks. You just see Albert's gone up into 9th place after overtaking Riley. So Riley's been disqualified from the session. Well, I did not see that coming, so I wonder why he was disqualified there. Must be for causing an incident. Just still seeing battles going on left, right and centre here though. So Butters and Wolsey still gunning at each other, just trying to keep those positions. Both on the soft tyre compound now. Both have only had like 1 or 2 laps between them in the softs. So these guys are going to be really quick, but what they don't want to do is they don't want to get caught up too far between the other drivers. So keep an eye. James Punt, however, in the other AlphaTauri, he's got himself up into 8th place. I mean, the real winners so far of today's race, you can just see James Punt just having a little look, coming down the main straights here. Not really sure what all the corners are called here, so if anyone fancies educating me, please let me know. But James Punt's at the back of this queue of the medium tyre compound, so he's got Albert and Murph and Butters all on the soft tyre compound. So he's going to struggle a little bit with those boys, particularly over the next couple of laps. Just while the fresh rubber's sort of settling in. If he can keep him there for 2 or 3 laps, he might get away with it. So Brumchum's back up into 7th place, B. Will is in 6th, Trent is still in 5th at the moment, and Dunners is up to 4th. So he's done really well there to keep that in for sure. So let's just do gap to interval. You just see a few of these boys getting nice and close to one another. Albert looks like he's going to be having a go at James Punt down this main straight. He's got the outside line though. She's going to find it difficult to overtake. Nice and clean from the 2 drivers. I like it. Very nicely done. Just see Wolsey and Aero exchanging position slightly further back as well. And looking at it at the moment, Preston Mixer is going to get nice. He's nice and close to the back of the Red Bull. Because ZGS has built a bit of a gap now. He's created a second gap in this last lap alone. So I don't know if Willis is just having to try and defend a little bit too hard against the Ferrari there. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the Ferrari having a go coming up the main, well, I say main straight, on the straight here, should we say, not the main straight. Yeah, nice and solid there. Love the lines that a lot of people take here. So a lot of people not taking use of that curve. Possibly a good move in fairness, because the curves can be very unforgiving on this track. Yes, it looks like Preston Mixer's got that lovely little glitch that I bloody hate on this game. I can see Albert's right up beside here. James Punt still battling out with James Punt at the moment. Neither of them wanting to yield. He's just touched a little bit of the grass there. That's going to put him out of shape. That's going to give a chance for the Red Bull. But no, he's gone too far wide. But now Butters is definitely going to be overtaking the pair of them here at this rate. Nicely done from the McLaren driver, just seizing the opportunity from the mistake there from Albert. So Albert's dropped out to 10th place. Unfortunately, Murphy's down into 11th, but Butters has managed to get himself up into 9th place. So now he's probably going to be doing exactly the same as what Albert was just doing, trying to be a bit more aggressive, trying to overtake the AlphaTauri in front. Going to keep an eye on the other boys here. As you can just see that Brumchum is nice and close to the back of B. Wheeler at the moment. In terms of tyre, they're probably going to be at an equal standing. They're both fighting it out at the moment, and obviously Brumchum's 1 lap older. Won't really make too much of a difference here. Albert's now right on the back of Butters again now. To try and overtake him on the outside. I'm not too sure he's going to be able to get that done. But no, and as I say that, it just goes on through. Problem is with the inside line there is it takes you all out to sorts. You just see Murph getting a little bit tangled up with that curb. Oh, and I've just seen that there is a pink weapon in the wall. That's Dunners, isn't it? Yeah, that's unfortunate for Dunners. He's definitely lost his wing there, and that's going to ruin his race with only 5 laps to go. As I can just see there, more people having all sorts here. Wolsey now losing out. few drivers not being able to keep it on track here at the moment. Potentially, I wouldn't say they're struggling through tyre degradation, so must be a couple of individual areas just creeping in. So I can just see here Blumchum is nice and close to the back of B Wheeler now. He really wants to move up to the position. I'll tell you what, very solid drive from the Haas driver. Started off in a nice 5th, but dropped down to 12th, but he's managed to get himself back up into 6th place there, so solid driving from him. Not too many fights going on at the moment. Everyone appears to be stuck in a bit of a DRS train, sort of stuck with half a second between the lot of them. So Preston Mixer, I think his soft tyres are starting to go off now because he's no longer making an impression on Willis and 2nd place. ZGS is just in a league of his own at the moment, just pulling out half a second a lap here. He's got the lead up to 5 seconds. So unless he makes a bit of a catastrophic error where he bins it into the wall or anything, he's looking at potentially the race winner here. Interesting though. Well, Trem's going to draw some very good points here for the McLaren, and Butters is also in the points. So McLaren doing well here today, and unfortunately for the Alpha Tauri, they're only point scoring position as James Punt in 7th at the moment. So this is going to really affect the Drivers' Championship. And what's really, everyone's got penalties left, right and centre today. So most of those people are just going to cancel each other out. But the big losers here, unfortunately, is going to be Wheeler and Blumchum. No wonder why he's pressing so hard to try and get past him, because he knows he's got to make up time. Because these 6 seconds, even 3 seconds, that's enough to dump him out of the top 10. So it's going to be very, very tight indeed. Well, saying that, Era and Murph both got 9 seconds, so they're out of that. I'm not going to sit here and work it out, but I say this, Preston Mixer's got nice and close to the back of Willis again. So perhaps he was just recharging his battery as it sits at 5%, but nice early shift changes there to keep the traction. To be fair, Trem's not too far behind here, so Preston Mixer's got a 3-second penalty and so's Trem, but they're not going to lose positions here due to the fact that the people behind them also have penalties, and some of them more severe penalties. So it's going to be quite interesting to see what's going to happen with this front 3, this last podium place between Preston Mixer, Trem. As you see there, he's just had a real big dive, Preston Mixer. He's overshot it, and now he's going to come back onto the track. That's very dodgy racing there. He should have kept the inside. He's gone a little bit too far over. Luckily, he ghosted through Trem, because that would have been the end of his race too. So Trem's up into 3rd place now, so very happy with that, no doubt. Just going to keep on board with him here, because Preston Mixer will not let that position go for sure. As you can just see, quite a few of the bunches now starting to pick up it. The gaps are starting to close again now in the closing stages of the race. So Willis is going to be still fighting for that 2nd position here, but someone has to overtake and get 3 seconds on him here, so he doesn't want to defend too hard that he actually ends up losing out significantly with a little wobble or something here or there. He just needs to keep it clean. If he loses a place, doesn't matter. He doesn't want to be picking up penalties right now, because everyone behind him is suffering with 3 or 6 second time penalties here. So Willis has definitely got 2nd place here if he can just keep the car on the track. So Preston Mixer lost out there by having a bit of a late live lunge, and which Willis, to be fair to him, very well got out of the way. So just the last couple of laps here, choosing to be pretty tight between a lot of the drivers. Wheeler's now on the back of Preston Mixer. I mean, Preston Mixer going off the track there was at the worst time possible, because his tyres are probably going to be shot. 11 laps old softs now, so he's going to be starting to lose traction around some of these corners. He's just going to have to be a little bit careful when he picks up the throttles. You can just see him touching the grass once again. So the Velo's quite close in proximity now. He's just having another little wobble there. So those tyres really are starting to get away from Preston Mixer, unfortunately. Just keeping an eye though, so you can just see here that Blumchum is still on the back of that Renault. I really don't know where these people are going to finish up with all the penalties, etc. coming in. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this all finishes. So again, ZGS still first. Willis is now starting to close the gap slightly, but I don't think he hasn't got enough time to definitely catch up the back of ZGS. Perhaps he's just chilling out a little bit, where he's got a bit of a gap in front. God, everyone's so tightly packed together now. It's just train by train at the moment. It's the tightest I've seen of any race this far, I'd say, actually, where everyone's so close. As you can just see there, a couple more people just trying to think about what they're going to do here, whether or not they're going to try and have a bit of a late lunge. But if they're not careful, they could end up like what Preston Mixer did, and they could overcut it and put it into the grass. So, Beware is now pressing on the back of Preston Mixer, I shall say. Still trying to push, but he's got a 6-second penalty, so unfortunately, even if he got past Preston Mixer at the late stage of the race, I can't see him making up 3 seconds. So I'm just going to keep an eye on Trem at the moment, as he is still chasing the back of this Red Bull. But unfortunately, he's done it a little bit too much this race, I'd say. He's just not been careful enough of his ERS. I mean, you know, considering at lap 20, everyone would have had 100% following the safety car. He's just let it go a little bit too much. And that's just given Willis here the chance just to defend on those main straights there. Just goes almost goes a little bit deep there, Trem, but he has got a 6-second time penalty now, so he is going to lose the place to Preston Mixer and potentially James Punt. And he might even lose out to Albert as well, who's kept his nose really clean in this race. So, although Albert has dropped down the list quite significantly and then managed to get himself back up to 7th, he is probably going to leapfrog potentially all of these drivers. Albert could still be on with a chance of a podium here. So, it'll be very great. I'd like to see him on the podium. Always a consistent driver, particularly around most of these circuits. And yeah, he's particularly done pretty well today, considering he's had 3 pits. Now, Trem is getting awfully close now to the back of the Red Bull. With that DRS, though, not going to make an impression here, but he's just got to stay with him. It's all about the start straight. If he can just stay within this sort of distance, there's no way that Red Bull should be able to counter him on the main straight, because the DRS would just be too powerful. So he's only got 1 or 2 more attempts to get this done. But again, he's so smooth going through that last section of the Red Bull. But Trem is there. He is thereabouts for sure. Just saying that, Preston Mixer is under quite a significant amount of pressure from the Renault as well, coming down the back straight there. Does look like we're not going to see, it looks like we're going to see action, but we're not at the same time. But Preston Mixer again is trying to go around the outside of Trem, but I can't imagine Trem's going to let him take that. Yeah, nice and late on the brakes, just gives the position his way. Good defending from Trem there. As I can see here, Blumchum's now retired from the session. I wonder if he's if he's lost it somewhere on track. Looks like there is. Oh no, he's retired in the pits by the looks of it. It's unfortunate for him actually. I thought he was going to be on for a couple of points still in this race. But as we just approach the closing stages, so ZGS is now on his last lap, or already is on the last lap, I should say actually. Keeping an eye. He's just going to be. I'm not going to stick with him just because it's so tight in the midfield here. But ZGS is going to take it home. He is going to win this race. I might get round there in a minute just to see him cross the line. But Butters is now retired from the session from 9th place. Oh, so unfortunate. He had no penalties as well, I don't think. So he's just lost out significantly. Everyone's still fighting towards the end of this race. ZGS takes it home. Well done to ZGS. Don't want to stay too far away. Trem's obviously lost out time. Oh, but Albert on the last corner, just trying to take James Punt on the line. He hasn't quite managed it, but he's still going to fly up, and he's done it. Albert has managed to jump from 7th to 3rd, just because of penalties. So well done to him there. So guys, some really good racing there. Unfortunately, I feel sorry for a couple of the boys here who's had to retire, unfortunately. Butters there on the last lap, Blumchum, Riley. It's unfortunate that they've dropped off. So, provisional driver of the day has been given to ZGS by the game here. I have to say he has got a really good race in him today. He's managed to get from the midfield to the front, and he's managed to keep it. I say ZGS, apparently he's Michael Schumacher, but yeah, each their own, I guess. But very, very nice end to the first race. So we're going to be coming back here to be doing a sprint race shortly. So it's the same race, but this time there'll be no safety car. The position in grid is randomised, so you could be anywhere. And lastly, it's only 25% race, so we'll only be expecting about 15 laps of racing. So I'm just going to run you through the list then. So ZGS is in first, managing to get himself up from 11th to 1st on the grid. He also takes home the fastest lap of a 1:25 flat, quickest of anybody. Then you've got Willis in second in the first Red Bull. And then you've got Albert in third, making up a lot of places through the and unfortunately from some of the people picking up some penalties throughout the race. A lot of penalties in this race. Significant, actually, everywhere. But then again, Preston Mixer has managed to keep his position in 4th place, so he may have dropped down the list, but he has kept 4th position very well, which is great. James Punt has managed to move himself up to 5th. Again, that's likely due to penalties. So very nicely done for him. He needed those points because with the Racing Point finishing 1st and 10th, they obviously have definitely gained momentum into the first race. Then you've got Trem in 6th place, very solid run from him, and B Wheeler in 7th, Wolsey the first Mercedes in 8th, Murph in 9th, and lastly Dunners again in 10th. So good racing, boys, for the first one. We'll see how that goes towards the second. There'll be a short sort of intermission now between the first and second, while people go and have their smokes or go and get themselves some drinks, etc, etc. So I'm just going to leave you briefly while they just set up for the second race. I myself am just going to go get myself a drink. So I'll be back with you shortly. Just while you're waiting for the race to start, if there's anyone here got any ideas of who's going to be finishing where in the second race, it'll be interesting to see if Riley or Blumtom or anyone else who's unfortunately retired as Butters as well, see where they're going to line up and see whether or not they can get some more points in the second phase of today's round 6. I'll be back with you momentarily. Hello, I am back. Apologies for the delay. So I've just been speaking to Aaron in regards to what happened there, but it seems that the drive-through penalty you have to serve within 3 laps, as we all know, but you can't do it under the safety car. So what was strange was, although the safety car was going round, it was still counting the laps, which is why it disqualified him on the end of that Grand Prix, because he didn't get a chance to actually serve his drive-through. Very interesting. But yeah, that is a bit of a weird one in fairness. So we're going to be getting back underway probably within the next 5 minutes. So we're just going to go back through that little race there. So some solid points from a few of the drivers. So that's going to make some interesting changes to the championship next week, particularly obviously in the feature race. Just having a little look here. Yeah, it's very interesting. So anyway, like I said before, the second, so he made 3, but shit as fuck on the mediums, probably a setup issue, but I'll happily take 3rd. Yeah, I bet you would. I bet you would, Albert. Yeah, it is really noticeable, actually, to be fair. So some of the guys are just on the chat here talking about how big the difference is between the soft, mediums and hards. Now, we all know there's a big difference in terms of the tyres obviously coming together quicker, the distance they can go, the softs obviously being the quickest but the least durable, so unfortunately there's not much longevity there. But you can, most of these tracks, when you do 50% or 25% race distances, you can get away with a one stopper on most of these tracks. So although they weren't necessarily losing tyre wear, the actual tyre compound themselves just wasn't giving them enough. I would imagine because Australia is obviously a high traction, it's all about the traction on Australia, isn't it? Because quite a lot of the corners are quite fast flowing. So if you're losing too much momentum on the corners, it just compromises the exit completely. And as a result, you're just bound to lose out. So you can't just go too much on the straight line speed here. You can't have the wings set too low. Because if you do that, although you'll be fine on the straights, similar to Belgium in Spa, it's a case of you'll still lose out overall because of the quicker and the slower corners. You just lose out too much time, and obviously the tyres can have a massive impact on that. With the softs, you could just turn in quite comfortably, and the car just seems to respond so much better. I mean, I think we've all had it when you've been on a soft tyre and you've gone onto a medium, and it's just completely changed how it's gone for the remaining part of the session. So it looks like everyone's readying up now, which is good. We're just about to get back underway again shortly. So let's just see what happens in the second race. I'm interested to find out where people are going to finish here, because that's going to be interesting. Let's just have a little look here. So it's just going to set itself up as we just wait for the last driver. It looks like Murph just trying to log back in. So a couple of the boys have been brought back now. So BTL will be back in for this second race. Obviously, he is in the Haas. So he's gonna have to see if he can get a bit lucky here. So if he gets somewhere near the front of the grid, just needs to defend solidly, and he might be able to get himself some points for this week. So let's just see how we go. But just congratulations again to ZGS on a fine race. Managed to pick himself up there. And also Willis as well in second, actually, being able to come right up the chain there. He's done really well to get himself a second place there. Some solid defending through the mid to end part of the race to keep him in second place. Didn't have to defend as hard as he did, because he knew he had position anyway due to the time limits. But you start losing one place, before you know it, you could have lost 3 or 4 there, because everyone was so close together, particularly towards the end of the last few laps. So there should be a formation lap here again, as we'll get to them run through the order of where the randomizer has put people. Obviously, as you all know, a randomizer can either be your best friend or your worst nightmare. But yeah, if you've got any... I mean, let's just see who's going to be out here in the first 10, because, I mean, that will have a big impact on who's gone where. So I bet Riley's going to be seething after that disqualification because of Codemasters. Hopefully they address that in the F1 2021 game, which I don't know about you guys, but I am mega excited for. Some really good changes they're going to make this year to make it a lot more interesting for sort of split screen play, career mode, etc. The Breaking Point series seems quite cool as well. So I don't know how he's done it, but for what appears to be every week, Riley's managed to pick himself up in first place as a result of the randomizer. B. Wheeler in second, Dunner's in third, James Punt's in fourth as well, so the AlphaTauris both in the top 4, which would be very, very handy for both of them if they can keep those positions and basically nullify the lack of points they got in the last, or I say the last race, it's still fresh in our minds here, the feature race. Then you've got Butters in 5th, Murph in 6th, Albert in 7th, who picked up his first podium, I believe, in this season in the Alfa Romeo, so that's a very good bit of driving from him. 8th is Preston Mixer. BTL has managed to get himself into 9th to start this race off, and Blumchum carries out the top 10. You've then got Trem in 11th. ZGS, our previous race winner here, unfortunately has to start at 12th. He has to do it all over again. And Willis as well, who finished 2nd just behind ZGS, finds himself behind ZGS once again at the beginning of this second round. So as the predicted pit stop strategy shows you, you're looking at about lap 7 or 8. You could go onto the medium or the hards. Everyone potentially should be starting on the softs, but I would imagine we'll have a few runners who, as always, prefer to start on the mediums. As you can see here, we've got Dunners, Murph, Albert, Trem, ZGS and Wiz all starting on the medium tyres. So Ryan's going to want to build up a gap early doors in the soft spots, and would be Wheeler. So they were going to want to drop Dunners as soon as possible to make this strategy work, because they're going to want to get a good 5 or seconds in front of them just to give them a healthier enough sort of gap for when the pits come. So BTL and Albert have both been disqualified from the formation lap. That's likely because they may have touched. So they're going to have to wait on the grid for the rest of everyone to reform. So the drivers are all lining back up now on the beginning of the main straight now. As you can just see him ghosting through a few of the drivers there. Going to be interested to see here, because Ryan's mentioned that it's not his favourite track. It's not one of his favourites. I mean, I've done Australia so many times. The amount of times I've done a new season, and obviously Australia is the first lap on the calendar. We've had some unfortunate news, obviously, saying that it's not going to be on this year's calendar, which I must admit, really unfortunate, because I really do enjoy the Australian Grand Prix. Maybe more to race it rather than to watch it. But anyway, here we go. So we're going to have 3, 4, 5 lights will be... And here we go. So, a really bad start from in second place there. Looks like the AlphaTauri's got plenty of wriggle room, followed by James Punt. Great start from him. He's gone from 4th to 2nd place already. As we can just see, Preston Mixer has now retired from the session, so there's definitely been some contact there. Now, there's no safety car in the second race here, so everyone's just going to have to keep on going, as they just see a lot of people movements here between Albert, Blumchum and Butters. Just see here, we've got some yellow flags here. Just got to be a little bit careful in the opening sector as people come swinging around the corners. Now here comes Codemasters. Yep, you do your bit, guys. Mess around with the field yet again. Such a pain in the ass. So just going to make a quick change on here, see what's going on. No penalties, as you can imagine. Just let it catch back up. So it looks like Riley is definitely in first here. Got a little bit of a healthy gap towards second, which is showing Dunners in second. So he's managed to pick up second place again after losing out to James Punt. And then you've got James Punt, Butters, Albert, and Blumchum all in close proximity of one another. Just going to keep an eye on this little train here as we come onto the main straight. This is very handy for people like Dunners and Albert, who are both on the medium style compound at the moment. The more they can stay where they are, the better they'll be towards the end of this race, because they'll be much quicker than everybody else. Really not the best camera there, is it? We'll do that. No real changes along this main straight at the moment, but Blumchum's got the soft tyre compound on, so he's going to get better traction than Albert coming out this corner. I can see him sticking up on the inside here, yep, which he's going to do. Just whether or not he can outbrake himself. Oh, good driving from the pair there to avoid contact, but the Haas driver is still under pressure. Just managed to keep it, so he's taken the position. Really nice driving from the pair of them. As you can just see Albert just getting a little bit onto the grass. Not a place you want to try and retake the position. Just buy your time here, wait for the next corner. Still going it between the two of them. As you can just see behind, Trem and BTL is also having a bit of a fight here. So let's just pick it up from the back of this pack. As you can just see, they're all coming on through here. Quite a few drivers getting out of each other's slipstrings. Because I don't want to get too close. Because if you get too close on this corner, and if the person in front of you, you outbrake yourself, you can go straight into the back. Looks like, that's really good. He's got a really good exit there from Paul Wheeler. He's going to take the position to move up into 8th place. So a little bit of switching going on early doors. Nothing too much, I must say. Not too much happening in terms of positions going on at the moment. I'm just going to keep an eye on that now. So Riley's got a 4-second gap between him over there, and I can just see there's another fight becoming between second and third. James Punt's been able to push his AlphaTauri up into second place, so Dunners isn't going to be too worried at this point, bearing in mind he is on the medium tyre compound. If he can stick with the AlphaTauri though, he should have a second opportunity to have a go at him towards the latter part of the race when he switches onto the softs. So we've got Butters in 4th place now, who he is also wanting to get onto the back and use the freshness of those soft tyre compounds. The first penalty of this race goes to Trem for multiple warnings, most likely corner cuttings, as you can imagine. Butters getting very close to the back of Dunners now. He thought about having a go there, but he probably decided right and thought he'd wait a little bit longer into the lap before making a move. It all seems to be a bit plain sailing at the moment. Quite a few cars here are pretty close to one another, as you can just see the back and the middle part of this pack between sort of 7th and 10th. Getting quite tight now, as you see DRS has now been enabled, which is not really going to help too many drivers here at the moment. Got another yellow flag there, so I can see Woolsey and Era having a bit of a tangle. Woolsey has unfortunately put it into the wall. So I don't know if that was because of contact or whether or not he's lost out. As you can just see here, that BTL and B Wheeler are having a fight coming onto the main straight. Oh, he just seems to get a much better exit than the Renault, and he's just retaken the position. Really nicely done by the new boy. Quite a lot of cars really tight on here. Oh, as you can just see there, Trem just hit the wall. He's lost part of his wing as well. He's going to feel the effects of that coming into the next few corners. He's going to have to pit early. He was on the mediums, so he could go on the softs and try and make them last the 11 laps. He's not willing to give the position up though, as it just goes into the grass. Unfortunately, he's going to really struggle to be able to keep it in front of anyone, missing the little L plate there on the left-hand side of his McLaren. So Willis is now coming back up the field a little bit. He's now on the back of Trem. He's going to want to try and make up the position as soon as possible. His teammate Murph, who's unfortunately lost 6 positions so far in this race, is in 11th, closely following his teammate. Very nicely taken by all the drivers coming into this one. Oh, excuse me. So interesting though, James Punt is catching up to his teammate at the front. I wonder if we're going to see 2 AlphaTauris fighting. We haven't really seen a lot of that this season, although they've all scored some pretty good points between them. So a bit of a gap between second and third now. You see Albert's going into the pits, and so is Trem, as you'd expect. They will get some clean air though, so they'll be able to use that clean air to their advantage to try and gain some momentum, get some good lap times together, and potentially come back out to the rest of these guys in the second phase of the race. Just see here, Butters is very close to the Black of Bluncham, who I must say, going up 6 places so far in this race, started really well. So, again, he looked like he was looking good for points in the last race, but unfortunately retired towards the latter part of the race, Bluncham. He obviously doesn't quite have the same engine power with Butters being behind him in the McLaren, but setup can play a big part here. Clearly, he's got a bit of pace in that Haas. So you can just see there's not really too much else going on in terms of positions. So we've also got ZGS just coming to the back of the second Haas, and Bluncham's just got himself his first 3-second time penalty, unfortunately, from after multiple warnings. That's going to have an impact on him again. There's only 10 laps remaining in this race, so you can imagine he's going to suffer a little bit there. Just going to remind ourselves of people's tyre compounds. So both the AlphaTauris and the soft tyres, so what they don't want to do is they don't want to pit at the same time, because that's going to double stack them and that's going to cause all kinds of problems. And to be honest, it will completely ruin one of their races without a shadow of a doubt. So Trent decided to go into the hard compound tyre to make sure he could see it through to the end. He had the choice of the softs or the hards, and he obviously didn't think he could do 10 laps from the soft, which is, to be fair, is probably the right call. But I think if you're going to be at the back, you may as well try and risk it on the softs, really. Try and get back up to the rest of the pack. Preston Mixer, if you're watching, mate, let us know what happened. I didn't actually see what happened between yourself there on that first lap. Was it a case you lost it? Was there some damage, or was there a touch on another car? Let me know if you can. So just have a little look here. As we can see here that B Wheeler is sorry, ZGS, apologies, is what I mean to say. Right up the back of the Haas now. This is the closest battle going on, except maybe we've got Error at the back here as well, who is on the soft compound tyre, who's looking at the back of that Red Bull. He's getting very, very close coming up to this next corner. He is on the soft compound tyre as well, so he should have speed advantage. Although, I imagine after 5 laps, it's not going to be much longer that he's going to have that. I expect soft tyres to maybe start going off around lap 7. So I'm just going to keep here ZGS. And Blumchum's retired from the session. He's binned it into the wall. That's unfortunate. But no safety car again. Okay, so no safety car in the sprint race. So unfortunately, Blumchum running really well in 4th place. Unfortunately, he's lost it. As you can just see there, Butter's going into the pits. So he's possibly going to try and undercut here to try and maybe get the position back on ZGS and Dunners later on in this race. But both the AlphaTauris are still going. James Punt is catching to his teammate still, 2.3 seconds in it now. And catching him lap by lap. Be interesting to see what happens if them two get right up to one another. As you can see, a couple of other drivers now pitting. So Butter's pitted. So is BTL, so is Willis, so is Error, and Trem should now. Wonder if Trem's going to be just coming to the back of that pack now. I know he's a little bit further down. Problem is with the hard tyre is obviously he's a lot slower than the rest of the cars on track. So even though they've pitted, he hasn't made up much of a difference. We thought he'd probably make up more than that though. 5.4 seconds to Error. But it is tight between 10th and 11th and 12th. So if he can catch up at the back of him, maybe there's still some points for him out there. So James Punt's now got the gap down to 2.1 seconds. I wouldn't be surprised to see Aaron coming in here. Yep, which he looks like he is. Yep, so he is coming in. And obviously, luckily James Punt's seen that and he's stayed out. But if he can get a mega lap here, he might be able to take the lead from his teammate here. Just depends whether or not he's got enough left in those soft tyres to do the job. So more pits coming now. So you got Riley's coming in now, but is he going to be slowed down by anybody? He is. He's been slowed down by the Racing Point. That is not going to help him. Wheeler's just come in as well in P5. Murphy's in at P6. A few changes here, so Riley unfortunately lost out slightly in that pit stop, so that's only going to help his teammate in potentially taking over. The good news for him is when he comes to pit, everyone else has pretty much already done it, except him and ZGS. So they will probably come into the pits. No, I'd imagine actually saying that. ZGS may come in now. He should be able to do 8 laps or 7 laps from the soft tyre compound, no trouble at all. So if I was him, I would probably pit now. So at the moment, they are leading the pack by a bit of a distance. So we've got 16, he's got 21 seconds on his teammate, James Punt. So I don't know if that's going to be the difference, because he did have 2 seconds on his teammate before the pit stops started. And he will have fresh tyres now, so he may be able to get some of that time back. Then behind him you've got Dunners. So now Dunners and Albert, both on the soft tyres here. It's going to be interesting to see if Dunners can catch up to the back of Riley over the next couple of laps. Just going to drop it down a little bit further down the list, just while we wait for a few more bits to happen. So we've got BTL close to the back of the Red Bull. So they've both just pitted for fresh rubber. But there is a change. There's obviously a difference in tyre compounds here. So we've got. I'm just going to keep an eye on this now. Actually, as James Punt is pitted, and there comes Riley. Error's now unfortunately DNF'd. It looks like he's unfortunately done the same as. No, he's not the same as Blumchum. A little bit earlier. Is he still good at? Yeah, he's definitely got out in front of his teammate, hasn't he? It's going to be tight though. He's going to keep it in front of the Racing Point. But now he's got to do his teammate a favour. He's got to keep that Racing Point behind him, because he is on the soft tyre compound here. So although he has lost out, he's still lost out a second to his teammate. So Riley's out that there, very strong indeed. And then he's just picked up a 3-second time penalty. So all of that points he's now got in front, all that time, he's just lost it. Well, not a place to overtake there. He's got to be really careful there. Doing a good job of keeping the Racing Point behind him at the moment, James Punt. He's going to have to see what happens over the next couple of corners, though. He's gone a bit deep there. That might give Dunners a chance to attack him, which it is. It's giving him a chance to attack on the inside here. He's not going to be able to make the move stick, unfortunately, though. He's just got too much speed coming out there, the Alpha Tauri. But if he can stick on his back, here comes the DRS. This should help him actually get the move done, potentially, on the inside. He is in front. No, it's good racing between the two of them. They're kept well out of each other's way there like that. But if Dunner stays on the back of him, he may have a second opportunity on this next straight with a DRS again. Just needs to make sure he keeps it as close as possible there. Looks to take it a lot more cleaner than James Punt has. ZGS is now pitted. But is Dunner's going to have a chance? I don't think he is. I think it's because he doesn't have the ERS, does he? Neither of them do, in fairness, so they should be countering each other out. Well, all the while this goes on, though, Aaron's got a chance of increasing his lead. He needs to keep it above 3 seconds. I mean, James Punt really doesn't want to do it. He wants to be catching up to his teammate. He's going to want to win this, but then Dunner's as well. He is obviously going to want to... He must think he can win this now. All over the back of the first AlphaTauri. The second one's got a timed penalty up the road. Just going to avoid this for a minute, as I can just see here that ZGS and Willis are having a bit of a fight of their own. So ZGS came back out in 6th place, but all over the back of Butters, on the soft tyre compound, he should be the quickest guy out there right now in terms of tyres, of course. Just takes it, just gets so much more grip on that corner. He's able to take the inside line, but I tell you what, Butters has lost 2 positions there. Unfortunately, the slipstream was just so powerful, it just followed him through. He's got Albert though in 4th place again though. He's done very well. He's back into a very solid point finish at the moment. So, and here we go, battling down here again. ZGS is got Willis for company. That Red Bull is going to be mighty quick in a straight line here. Just going to keep an eye on Dunners again because he is very close again. He's just staying within that little 0.2, 0.5 second gap, but he just can't seem to make the move stick at the moment. Only 4 laps remaining, so this pack is staying 3.8 seconds behind, 3.9 seconds behind Riley. And at the moment, it looks like Riley, even though he's got a 3-second time penalty, he could be taking this home. Just depends if James Punt can just get a little bit of breathing room from Dunners here, he could be able to charge down his teammate. When you think it's only 0.8 of a second, that is not a lot of difference. You see Wolsey picking up a time penalty, which is unfortunate for him. I mean, part of me thinks he should just let... I mean, no, obviously, if he was thinking selfishly here, part of me was saying, let him go, James. Let him go and let him see if he can catch up to your teammate and you can follow him in the slipstream. Drop him down to 3rd place. But obviously, he won't want to do that. They're teammates. But, I mean, we would like to see it for sure. See what happens. He's a lot closer this time round, Dunners. I still don't think he's going to be able to get the move done here. Again, just... ERS management's not quite there today. A lot of people have been obviously having to use it quite a lot to defend, and as a result, they haven't got it to attack with either. Just going to keep an eye back here then. Just see ZGS and Willis are still in close proximity of one another, still fighting it out. Just going to keep an eye on the time section there, just to see whether or not Dunners does get any closer to James Punt over the next couple of laps. So it all seems to be quite... couple of battles going on here, nothing too serious. Unfortunately, we have lost 3 drivers so far. We've lost Preston Mixer on the first lap. We then lost Blumchum as well, as he unfortunately put it into the wall. And then 2 laps later, Error 6 has done the same. Unfortunately for both of them, because actually both of them were, I believe, in the top 10 when it happened. So it's still staying at 3.8 seconds. Dunners though, up close. Is he going to get the move done this time? He's definitely got the breaking point right this time. He's got it. He's got to keep it to the inside. I don't know. The AlphaTauri's still not giving it up. Butters get a 3-second time penalty, but he has made it up into 2nd place now. But this has really handed Riley an extra second. So now it's a case of, can Dunners push that pink weapon I don't know, it's got 2 laps. Can he get 1.4 seconds in it? Not too sure if he can or not, but the problem is, it just depends, because James Punt probably is not going to take this line down, of course. Down to 4.1 seconds. Really interesting to see whether or not they're going to be able to catch him or not. He is on a soft tyre. He is on the soft compound tyre. He's not lapping slowly, James Punt. He's just within his current best lap time, so pretty close compared to what's going on at the moment. Okay, we're down to 4 seconds now. 2 more laps. Can he gain a second in 2 laps? It's going to be really touch and go, but we'll just leave that for the time being. Just going to have another little look here at James Punt. Has picked up a 3-second time penalty. Oh, so unfortunate for him. He's definitely, even if he does overtake Dunners again now, he's going to be under significant pressure to try and get 3 seconds on him, which he's not going to do. Dunners, however, 3.4 seconds. Okay, maybe he can do it. Maybe he can catch up to the back of Riley and get him within that 3-second zone. He's absolutely chalking it up now. That's gutting for Riley if that's the case, though. Good news for James Punt at the moment is that Albert is in 4th place at the moment. He's defending against ZGS, who's also then defending against Willis. They're not going to get close enough to have an indent on his finished place for sure. I think the top 3 is predetermined. It's a case of whereabouts they're going to finish. Dunners is within that 3 seconds. If he can just keep it together now, 1.5 laps to go, he is going to be the winner of this race. Just going to keep an eye at it. Just further back slightly. The Red Bull is very close to the back of ZGS now. Wonder if there's going to be a change between the 2 of them there. God, it's so tight between the top 2. I don't know. I feel like he might get it done, you know. Just depends how much of that tyre life he used up in trying to overtake James Punt for that. Oh no! And that's settled it. Riley's got his 2nd penalty. So he's definitely going to lose out. As you can just see the Red Bull there going on the inside. It looked like he was backing right out of the way there. So it looked like it was going to be a bit of a collision there. They did very well done to avoid each other. So 6 seconds on his time is meaning that Wolsey's retiring for the session. Oh, what's happened there? Oh, he's on the same as Blumtum. He's binned it on just after that S-Ben. So you can just see here the 2 Red Bulls fighting it out for positions in the 6th and 7th at the moment. So Dunners has got the time down to 2.3 seconds. He does not need to overtake Riley now because he's got 6 seconds. He's got a 6-second time penalty. But what that is going to do is that's going to make it really close between James Punt and Riley again now. He's 4.5 seconds behind his teammate, but he's got a 3-second time penalty, so he needs to get about another 1.5 seconds if he's going to overtake his teammate and dump him from 1st down into 3rd. You just see here that Trem has got someone on the back of him now. B. Wheeler is trying to get on the back of him. He's managed to get into the top 10 though, Trem. Very nicely done. He's been on the hard tyres for a little while. As B. Wheeler just lost to Butters as he's just gone really wide there and touched the grass. Yeah, definitely, completely agree, Tom. It's it's very close here. As you can see now that ZGS is 0.3 seconds behind Albert. Is there going to be a late change between these 2? I don't know. Just going to keep an eye on the top front now, though, as Riley is going to come home in provisional first place, but you can see Dunners has been able to catch him up really nicely. So Dunners is going to be the winner here. Riley has been demoted to 2nd. His teammate stays in 3rd. That's given us Albert, ZGS, Willis and Murph. Murph unfortunately is going to drop right out here. And it looks like BTL is going to take 7th place. Trem unfortunately with 6-second time penalties can't make up any more than where he has. But the McLarens are both going to finish in P9 and P10. And Wheeler, the last car to come home, in 11th. Really unfortunate for Riley there to get that 2nd penalty. That really sort of set... that was basically... It was sort of half predetermined anyway, in terms of Dunners managed to get it down to 2 seconds, but you just never know. So, I mean, looking at the moment, I mean, driver of the day's been given to ZGS for a second race. I mean, I am going to give him the driver of the day for the first race, for sure, after what he did there, because that was a really good performance. Not only to get it into the first place, but then to be on the hard tyre as well, and then to get the gap out he did, really solid indeed. But on the second race, however, it looked like it was going to be Ryan's day, but unfortunately a couple of penalties it's unfortunately cost him, and he's dropped down to second. But he'll still take that. He'll definitely take that. This is not a track that he favours, as he's quite rightly pointed out earlier on today. So, well done for him. I think, again, a couple of honourable mentions here. Willis, again, going from 13th to 6th. ZGS going from 12th to 5th. Albert from 7th to 4th. I think, you know, I mean, looking at the second race there's quite a few people who've made some unfortunate ones there. But I'm actually going to give the driver of the day in the second race over to Albert for that race, I think, to get the Alfa Romeo up into those points again from 7th to 4th. I know he only made up 3 positions, but that it's just incredibly hard to drive around a track like this with an Alfa Romeo, so I think he's done a really solid job. So I'm going to give him driver of the day for the second race. And that's the end of the racing for today. What we're going to be doing now is you will find we'll be doing a demolition derby. So it's just 5 laps. All cars will be not realistic, it will all be equal. It's just a case of, like, I've mentioned it quite a few times now, it's kind of a way for everyone to let out some frustrations. You know, not everyone's obviously going to be frustrated by the results today. Some of them will be very happy. But I think it's a randomised grid. Car performance will be equal. And it's just a case of, you know, there's no vehicle damage, no nothing. Just a chance for people to get away with a lot of stuff. The only rules is that you can't slow down. So you still have to race. And the other part of it is that there'll be no damage. So it just means you can get away with a lot more sort of pushing and shoving, really. But there will still be penalties. So you still have to drive as much as you can. So it's just a case of trying to make sure that people don't get too many penalties for doing stupid things, I think. But otherwise, it's a case of do whatever you want. So they're going to ready up straight away. Yeah, just to leave it on that, in terms of the driving, very solid race, guys, very entertaining. Some really good moves there by quite a lot of the drivers today. And you know, not just the overtakes for me, it's more of the respect and the cleanness that there was quite a lot of that today, which has been really good. We've had a couple of weeks where we've had a couple of bad safety cars, etc., caused by bad collisions, like Monday night and then last Thursday as well. So, but no, it looked like, you know, I think a lot of us probably just getting a little bit too over ego, unfortunately, but it looks like it's come down a lot better. And yeah, completely agree, Blumchum. Yeah, Danners and Punty, good racing between the two of them, very entertaining to watch. That's why we stuck with them for most of it. So what happened, Blum? Is it a case you did just lose it on the S-bend there, unfortunately turning out, or it's so easy to do in Australia, unfortunately, because it's such a high speed circuit. You know, all you have to do is take one wrong line and that's it. The car just completely loses it. And because you're going so quick, you've got no chances to rectify any of that. Right. I'm assuming, I don't think there's any formation lap here. As I say, it's like a prison rules game of football, really. Anything really goes. I don't really do much commentating here, to be honest. It's just more, you might not think I do that anyway, but it's definitely a case of, it's just anyone's game here. Anything can happen. It's just an all-up grudge match, or just do whatever you want. So if you're joining us now, you've missed some of the serious racing. Now we're here for the bit of the jokey racing. As you can just see that we're about to start the Destruction Derby for round 6. And everyone is off. So everyone's going to be on the soft tyre compounds for sure. We expect people to be nudging a few people out here. Quite a lot, as you can see, carnage already. As you can just see that the boys have gone right off into the corner there. Well, good luck getting back from that. So just see a couple of drivers getting away clean. Albert's not one to mess around on this. He's won a few of the Destruction Derbies because I think he just prefers to well, why not? Just win it. Win it for the sake of winning it. Because let's be honest, it doesn't matter what it is. We all want to win. We all want to win it all. So let's just have a little look here. So you can tell who's been having a bit of fun and who hasn't, just based on positional changes. You can see Trem's dropped down, Willis has dropped down, ZGS has dropped down. there'll be changes all over the place as we come to a close. But there's only 5 laps in order to do this. There is a point system going on for this, so I will just let people know. Or there was actually. I think we decided against it in the end, but all fun and games is what it is. So if you've been watching since the beginning, let me know how you thought the stream went. Obviously always looking to make improvements, whether that's from me or whether that's because of the cameras. I'm hoping the next Formula 1 will have more options in terms of the spectator view, because some of the camera angles here are great, but then equally on the other side, some of them are terrible. I don't know how Trem's managed to DNF there with no damage, and Butter's also done the same. ZGS has also died. Yes, so special guest. You've got your wish, Tom. Next week, I've asked Aaron if he'll drop on, and we'll have a little 5-minute chat before the racing begins. So the stream normally starts at about 8:20. So what we're going to do is everyone's retiring here, so I think everyone can't be bothered. It's not really sure what's going on here. It must be a red flag of some kind, or something's happened. Let's just have a little look. Everyone retire ASAP. What's going on, boys? My man Aaron, indeed. Red flag in a destruction derby. I never thought I'd see the day. Anyway, we'll leave that for the boys for the moment. But yeah, my man Aaron is going to be on next week. So what we'll do is a crash cam would be cool. Yeah, that would be quite cool actually. What I'd like to be able to do is rewind the races in a way. Yeah, so rather than having even like a crash cam, I'd just like to be able to pause the game and then go back that way, because that would just make a lot more sense, wouldn't it? Yeah, Preston Mixer is retired. Someone needs to tell BTL, because at the moment it's just him racing himself at the moment. But yeah, I think what I will say, Tom, is that we're looking at doing new content next season with the new Formula 1. So you could do like a joint career mode. So you can change everything in terms of, you can make your new team, and you can do My F1 again, but this time you can do it where 2 of you can control them. You don't have to worry about getting another AI to be in the team. You'll basically just be racing your friend or your teammate. Or you guys could just choose to do a traditional F1 season where you can just do all of the above and race that way. So, but the best part about it is you'll be able to actually make improvements on your car. You'll be able to do practice sessions together where you can actually run the programs to get your resource points, to then increase your reputation, things like that. Honestly, it will be great fun. Exactly. You might even get the game, because what we could do is, I'm going to be trying to race with Aaron potentially. We're going to try and start a season, but based on his performances here, I think I'm going to be honest. I think he's a better driver than me at this game. So, and the best way to improve, I think, is to race against people that are above your standard. I think that's the only way you can sort of come above it. Just having a little look here. So, just asking the question, just find out why we bothered to retire from the. Interesting. But anyway, we'll carry on talking about the game while we've got the opportunity. While I'm just waiting to move on, migrating host again to the next session. So, yeah, so carrying on with the Formula 1 talk. So we won't be moving over to F1 2021 to begin with, because obviously we want to make sure that all of the drivers have got an opportunity to buy the game, because as you can imagine, games these days are so expensive. You're looking at about £45-50 for this version. If you get the deluxe version, it's probably £70 which no one's going to want to pay. So me personally, I've not even I really wanted to pay for that, and I'm quite well renowned along my friends to just being a bit of an impulse buyer, particularly when it comes to games. But I'm going to wait and see. I believe I've asked for it for my birthday, so we'll have to see what happens. While we've got the time then, as Keely's pointed out, let's just have a little look to see what race is next week. Let me have a little look at the race schedule here. So we've just finished obviously in Melbourne. Next week is going to be Barcelona, Spain. I quite like Spain actually. Again, it's fairly similar to Australia in terms of its it's got some very many quick bends on this one. So I mean, I can't really remember the exact names of the corners, and I'm not going to bother trying to learn them because you know, this isn't my day job, of course. It's just something we do for fun. But yeah, so Spain's really good because it's got one long main straight, couple of punty corners, as we like to call them, as James Punt does have a couple with it. He just doesn't like spin out. But I'm saying that though, there's been no punty corner today for punty, but for everyone else there's been a few. I think we've had quite a lot of drivers lose it on some of the corners today. So we are going to be at Barcelona next week, and then we're going to be in Holland the week after that. So a couple of nice tracks coming up, actually. Ones that I actually really like racing in. Particularly Holland. I think Holland's great. Although it is a case of it normally is a bit... it's normally wet there. I can't remember whether or not... No, the weather, I think, is... I'm not sure if the weather is set to dry or not. Might have a quick little look at the league rules here. I can't see anything on that one, but... Okay, so we're just waiting for everything to settle on out. Yeah, so... I mean, Tom, I mean, do you know many tracks now that you've been watching this? Because obviously, what's interested me is that, obviously, I know you joined because I joined the league and we were watching us race. Now I'm doing the commentating. Unfortunately for me, you've stuck around for that. But any races in particular that you remember that was stuck out for you? And anybody else that's watching, you know, feel free to chime in. I mean, Hindenburg, why have you been here this week? Are you still about watching the stream today? If not, let me know. Looks like everyone's back in, so we're going to start doing this again. I still don't know why we retired out the first time. Just going to ask the question. Baku, really? Okay, so you like Azerbaijan? I quite like it as a street circuit. It's quite an unforgiving track, particularly midway through. You've got that really tiny trickle where you can literally just about fit one car in it. You get that wrong and it's instant game over. But yeah, I'm going to go back into the Structured Derby now. Oh, excuse me. It's getting a bit late for me. Apologies. Yeah, it is accident prone. I mean, just look at... it's actually given us one of the most entertaining races recently, actually, hasn't it? A couple of weeks back with the safety car, the restart with only 3 laps to go, and Hamilton getting alongside Perez and then making a very unusual error for him and just continued on down the drive, which gave us, Sebastian Vettel, I imagine, just getting up to a second place podium as well. I remember that race, which was very good for him. Right, so we're off again. Same rules apply, obviously, just no corner cutting, race as clear as you can. Obviously, this happens. It doesn't really matter if this happens. It's all a bit of fun. Just keep an eye on a few of the boys here, but people mainly looking in the wrong direction. Albert again doing what he does best, keeping his nose well out of it. He's interested in winning. He's not interested in playing this destruction derby rubbish. He just wants to win week in, week out. You just see him on the back of Murph now. Wouldn't be surprised if he just gives him a little nudge. Some strong defending going on because Murph is at the same position. He does not want to. He wants to get some points. Well, he wants to get his name in lights. He wants to be given as the Destruction Derby winner for the week. But while we're looking at that, we can keep an eye on some of these other boys. As everyone, as you can see, the AlphaTauri getting a bit of push on here. I think I've just seen him absolutely bin it into the wall there, James Punt. Yep. But as always, no damage, so no harm, no foul. Riley's having a bit of a race of his own. Keep an eye on this little pack here. This is the one that we want to watch out for. Pressing Mixer and Dunners. We'll see how that goes on. Murph with the fastest lap. Oh, Pressing Mixer's got the jump on Dunners there, I think. No DRS. Obviously it's only lap 2. But I mean, yep, that's pretty much the racing for today done, actually, guys. So, yeah, very solid afternoon, evening, even is what I meant to say. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of their week. If you've got any weekend plans, let me know. I unfortunately have a horrible weekend planned. I'm going to help a friend move or move some of his stuff. But the things you do for friends, eh? As long as I get the beers, I don't care at the end. So I think next week it's going to be interesting to see where the championship standings come off. As I mentioned, Aaron is leading the way in the feature and the sprint race. And yes, build flat packs, yes, I'm aware. So he's going to be keeping the top spot, particularly in the sprint race, because obviously finishing second in that one. Although saying that, Donners did win it, didn't he? So there's 7 points separating them, and I think it's 25 points and 20 points, isn't it? So he won't be getting that back. As Press and Mixer is just having a bit of fun there, doing a bit of donuts. Is there anyone really in close proximity of one another? Not really, is it? Just the two Red Bulls. That's what I was saying, that Riley's quite close to Punty. Getting a little nudge on from his teammate. Hurry up, mate. I think Aaron's actually trying to take his teammate out here for sure. Yeah, bye James, bye mate. Jesus Christ. Keep an eye on these three at the front at the moment. Nothing else really going on at the minute. Oh, I say that. Press the Mixer still on the back of Donners. Oh, maybe a beer, please. Dozen. A dozen or I'm not coming down. Oh, and there's Pressing Mixer out. Whoa. He's got 20 seconds on Riley though, so he just needs to be nice and slow. Oh, and look at that, look. And Dunn just span out on the following corner. Press the Mixer, getting a second go. Not really much to say on this, really, is there? Oh, as you just see, three cars ploughing into the wall. Almost at the end of tonight's festivities. Yeah, it's been quite a good solid race here, particularly from a few drivers. ZGS obviously done pretty well over the double races. Riley unfortunately getting a disqualification, but then making up for it by finishing second in the sprint race. James Punt as well getting on the podium, even with those few penalties between the two of them. They both managed to stay in the top three. Dunner's obviously finished in first in the second race due to the penalties that Riley received. So it's another one of those, isn't it, where the Racing Points and the AlphaTauri probably the highest scoring teams again this weekend. But in terms of which favour, couldn't really say for sure. But I'll be back on again next week anyway. Probably going to start slightly earlier. We'll probably be on about 8:20. That way I can get on the... and get Aaron to join in the chat. We'll have a little bit of a thing about how things have been going, what he thinks about the next couple of races coming up. Maybe we'll talk briefly about the Monday lot as well. As you well know, we have a two-tier system here, so this is one of the tiers in the Thursday league, and you see quite a lot of the guys on the Thursdays who actually race as well on the Mondays. Just have a little look here. You can see Willis is catching to the back of Albert. Albert will not want to give this place up. Might not have much of a choice though when you're up against a Red Bull, that's for sure. But then, with no rules barge. Nice overtake from Willis there, actually. But he's gone too deep though. Giving it back to him. Oh, now he's almost lost the car. Oh, I feel like we've... And they're... Oh, Willis is taking him out on the last corner. He wanted that first place, didn't he? Is that Dunner's getting second place as well? Yeah, Albert's dropped to third, and there he... Oh dear, that's before the line, Willis. Oh, he thought he'd have a little bit of a spin and pre-celebration. He's definitely blown his load a little bit too early there. Oh, bless him. But Dunner's wins today. He won the second race, and now he's won the Destruction Derby, or Demolition Derby, whatever you want to call it. But that is going to be the end of today's stream. As always, thank you everybody for joining. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'll be speaking to the drivers about anything that may have been missed, or more things that you want to talk about. If there's anything you guys want to talk about in the streams as well, let me know. I'll be live here again at about 8:20 next Thursday. We've got the other league on Monday, which will also be streaming at approximately the same time, at 8:20. And there is another. Their race schedule is showing that it's going to be Baku next week, I believe it is. Yep, Baku and Great Britain Short next week. So there'll be slightly different sessions set up from the Thursdays and the Mondays. On the Mondays, you have a 50%, you have a 18-minute short qualifying session, followed by 25% race in both of the sessions. So second session is a reverse lineup of the first and where you finish, and then you've got the first one is obviously predetermined by the qualifying. But we'll see you next week on the Thursday. Well done to my drivers of the day, ZGS and Albert. Really solid racing from the pair of you today. Commiserations to Blumchum and Error and a few of the other boys who unfortunately had a couple of bad moments where they binned it into the wall. But I'm sure they'll be back next week stronger than ever. But till then, have a lovely evening, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Don't enjoy it too much. And just to piss off Trem, it's coming home. I'll see you all later.